Welcome back. In this video, I'm diving into the Vivid Vision deliverable. Now, I think in the last one, I may have even introduced the video with that, but we ended up going into origin story first. That's just how it goes. But when you're building in public and you're just showing up to work alongside of what you would imagine a colleague or like an active collaborator, so things can just be a little messy and a lot organic. So that's what this is. And in this video, I'm going to continue where I left off in the lawn. Got a chance to pull data from GPT into Miro, visualized it, talked about being able to have a version of the data that you're proud of. In my case, as a lifelong artist, it's meaningful to me to be able to say, I'll put my signature on this. I'm comfortable signing this as something that I believe is representative of the truth as best as I can represent it, as best as I can articulate it, whatever the deliverable is, especially for this type of static stuff that you would review like on an annual or a quarterly basis. So we talked about also capturing the raw data. So just like throwing it into a doc. I love Miro docs. They're awesome. I've tried Notion, Google Docs, Asana, and I consistently just default into using Miro docs embedded. I think those are awesome. And then I'll fall back to Google Docs for things that need to be much larger, integrate out to other tools. From there, we also spun the entire thing into a Gamma deck and a voice narration, and then we turn that into a Loom video. I'm going to do that same process here just to show you how quick and easy it is. So I've got a picture here, and maybe you'll find a picture that you like better. Ideally, you do. If I was to show you, for example, the blank template, three members of the free community get it, and the VentureMap Elite community alike get this same template. The way it works is we'll just basically visually develop the copy here and if they have a deck or a video, we'll just throw it in here. So you definitely don't need this super spread out format. For me, there's a Dr. Jordan Peterson turned me on to the Big Five personality assessment. And I learned that my number one sub trait is aesthetics, and leaning into that, I found my life gets a lot better. I have more peace of mind. So I like to have things spread out. I like to be able to just feel immersed in what I'm working on. I used to say to my colleague over the course of years, if you have a giant portion of your week on a computer looking at a screen, the things on the screen should be beautiful. They should be meaningful, and they should be relevant to you. So that's why these images are here, because they speak to me. I could see these things, and I could walk around this gallery and sit on a bench and kind of just observe and contemplate. So that's me, right? This is a previous version. I wasn't feeling very aligned with it. I ended up doing all sorts of stuff. I did a multi-page biography. I pulled from previous podcasts. I had the NEPQ Dream Life worksheet, the neuro-emotional persuasion questions from 7th level sales. I took that worksheet, which is great. Fused all that together, and then used my framework for the Vivid Vision to spin this thing out. And I had a few versions of it. And I'm like, dude, it's not it. So I thought about it for a few days, took a completely different approach, and I landed on something that I feel proud of, and I'm pretty excited about, actually. So that's what I'm basically going to work on, and we'll see where it goes. So once you basically land on, in this case, the Vivid Vision, whether you're using Claude or Grok or Gemini or GPT, just take the data and throw it in. Here's looks like mine in Miro, and it's green and gold. Cool. If not, just make it make sense for you. That's what I always recommend. To that end, I always recommend just do what works for you as an individual and for you as a team when that's the case. And I'll just openly claim, I know that Cameron Herold, in that like pure form of this methodology for the Vivid Vision, he advises to have a focus, not exactly on revenue. It seems like that's not something that will typically find its way into a Vivid Vision. And I get that. I think that there's a really strong case behind it. And I would say, even as a rule of thumb, sticking with that makes sense. So this is probably a do as I say, not as I do thing. I put revenue markers in here for me, and just because it makes the most sense for me personally. So that's how that goes. But you won't see these in every vision that I will spin out for sure. And I think if you were to go like really pure off of the book, you would find that he doesn't actually advise that that's done. So yeah, fun fact there, but it's got to work for you. We're not building and we're not, it's like the frameworks that we use, the deliverables that we bring in, they have to serve us. We can't, we're not supposed to serve these frameworks. It's the other way around. I basically just copied it all in. You definitely don't have to do it as in the same way I just did, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For just as an example, you can quickly throw it into a Google Doc and be done with it. Personally, I like to have some level of investment in the work. And this may sound like very arrogant, and I don't mean it to be that way. I just know what I've seen, what I've observed. And I will tell you, I have seen pattern that a number of founders their tolerance for sitting with stuff like this, like sitting with it, is very low. And maybe it's a good reason, right? Maybe there's a good point that, hey, people don't sit with this stuff because there's money to be made. And I can appreciate that. But in my view, business is something that happens over quarters, it happens over years. And certainly there's sprints and there's times where we have to move fast. We have to execute. We got to get stuff done. And just as a quick side note, this may look small, but this is size 29 font. So you can make this pretty big. So this canvas is very large. And just for perspective's sake, we're not hurting for space here. When things start to get to size 12 font, just as an example, that's about as small as you'd ever want to go in things. Information for my vivid vision represented. And I've worked with it a bit. I'm happy with it, but pulling this back in to GPT would be a bit of a pain. So what you always want to make sure you do is bring it over. These are old versions. It's tough sometimes to walk away from previous versions because I love that stuff. I love it. It's great. But again, like I mentioned in the last video, you need to be able to get to a place where you're okay saying this isn't perfect. And I'm going to just circle around next quarter. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to take the whole thing. I do have another deck. So for example, you can spin off a deck and maybe that would be meaningful for everyone if I actually did that. So you can tell it, give me a deck, and just for expediency's sake, why don't we do that? Do a doc version this time and throw the doc in there just so people can read the whole thing. I can read the whole thing. Make sure you hit preserve, throw in your visual style prompt, and we're set. Take this stuff off the end. Okay, custom, hit your theme and let it rip. All right. Now, while this is doing its thing, I already have a script for the deck version. Now, usually I'll work with this to get it exactly where I want it, but for today, we're just gonna move fast. So I'm using Speechify. Actually, let's do these. So like to basically improve this scripting to make it more efficient, you'll usually just tell it, give it to me, you give the script to me in a continuous block of text that's unformatted. That way you won't have it either saying slide and number, and it won't say like script and other weird stuff, but going back in to reprompt it is going to be something I don't want to do right now. All right. And again, like I said, this is the kind of thing that in my personal view, I've seen a lot of founders don't have the willingness to just be like detailed and connected work that represents their business. And you have to be willing to do that. Like they say, do what doesn't scale. You need to be able to, I've got the kind of goofy voice. I guess it's just conversational. So we'll go ahead and export it. While that's running, we'll come back in, do a scan. I always delete these things. It's unnecessary. Anytime I see something that looks weird, I'll just do it. I can rerun it rather. And if I'm in a rush or it's like very low stakes, and I don't get back what I want, for example, like that's crazy. No one wants to see that. Just put the style prompt into the image prompt again, and that would usually do the trick. All right. So very easy. All in all, that took me a couple of minutes. And then what I'll do is just link it here, right? So I already have the long form version, and imagine I wanted to share that with someone. I just know that it's linked there. Okay, that's important. We're not actually going to use that as a presentation layer. You can do all sorts of things to make that make sense, but we're going to get into an actual deck just to show you how, like, you can take the full deliverable and create derivative works on that. That's the purpose of this right now, which is basically ensuring that you can see just with a little prompt, you can get different stuff off. So this time we're going on presentation in Gamma. Ensure it's on preserve and grab your style prompt. Okay, so make sure nothing weird. Select your theme and go.
Welcome to VentureMap's Vivid Vision. This is the future of business building.
Like I said, the voice is a little quirky, but my hypothesis is that using that voice, more conversational, natural voices, as opposed to like the cinematic ones, even though I do love like Carter, the Mountain Man voice. Personally, I think it's awesome. I think I've just been trying to use that one a little more to get used to it because I think it'll be better for our longer term goals. So what I'm doing now is just something that should only take it for stuff like this. That's from a visual standpoint. It's low stakes. As an example, sometimes Gamma, like during a mid year, you just like to check that looks dangerous, but why not? Like that, you got the servant readers. It's alrighty. So here we are. We've got a complete deck. Looks pretty decent. And what we'll do is we're going to full screen mode on Gamma, and then we'll have our audio track loaded up. And then from there, we'll hit record.
Welcome to VentureMap's Vivid Vision. This is the future of business building. Clear, scalable, self-optimizing. A vision for April 2028. The vision at a glance. By 2028, VentureMap is a fully autonomous company. We generate over $250,000 in recurring monthly revenue. The founder no longer needs to show up for work. The systems run, the team performs, the platform grows, and Logan has complete freedom of time, location, and focus. The founder's role. Logan now works where he's most valuable, on vision, strategy, and creative leadership. He's building deep partnerships, advancing the platform, and shaping the long arc of VentureMap. The rest of his time? It's spent with his family, traveling the world, learning together, and living richly. The team structure. VentureMap is supported by a high-performance team of specialists. Project managers, sales pros, marketers, content leads, editors, operations engineers, and automation architects. Some are full-time, some are fractional, some are AI. Each role is executed by the most competent contributor available. No waste, no bloat. The culture. The culture is deeply professional. Asynchronous by default, focused on flow, deep work, and meaningful output. We value clarity over noise, extreme ownership over micromanagement, self-awareness over ego, and the pursuit of mastery in everything we touch. What clients say? Clients describe VentureMap as a total transformation. They finally understand their business. They see the path forward. Their team is aligned. Execution improves. And for the first time in years, they're free to think like a CEO again. Our client promise. We give founders back what matters most: clarity, control, and the ability to scale without sacrificing their health, family, or calling. Product ladder. VentureMap's ecosystem supports every stage of growth. 10,000 founders in our free community. 1,000 members in our elite self-service platform. 100 companies in our operator implementation program. And 10 advanced founders in our private mastermind. Each tier equals transformation. Each tier is a ladder of transformation. From awareness to alignment. From friction to flow. From survival to scale. To sovereignty. Our brand is quiet power, minimalist, cinematic, sophisticated. We don't shout. We don't trend chase. We create space dash for clarity, presence, and action. Our reputation. We are recognized as the go-to business mapping framework for small and mid-sized companies. The standard for strategic clarity, the playbook for scaling without chaos, and the trusted partner for AI-enabled execution. How we operate. The business runs on world-class systems. Documented, distributed, continuously improved. Everything happens asynchronously, across time zones, around the clock. No chaos, just cadence, just clarity. The execution engine, every task flows through a 3-person pod. An executor performs the task. A process architect documents and improves it. An automation engineer works to eliminate it. The goal is complete automation, benchmarked to outperform human execution. Miro remains our blueprinting layer. Our data is structured for machine learning and AI evolution. Our interfaces are intelligent viewports, designed for relevance, decision support, and minimal cognitive load. Users see exactly what they need when they need it. Cadence and rhythm. We meet once per year to set the vision. once per quarter to recalibrate, once per week to align, and once per day, asynchronously to execute. Every motion is intentional. Every meeting has a purpose. Every team member has a clear target. Financial snapshot. We generate $250,000 in monthly recurring revenue, maintain over 70% profit margins, experience less than 10% churn, and grow at over 20% quarter over quarter. No outside investors. A full year of runway in the bank. Complete financial sovereignty. Portfolio evolution. VentureMap now owns and manages its own business portfolio. We acquire and build companies, apply our own systems, optimize operations, and scale them into sellable assets. It is no longer just a service. It's an engine. Our deeper impact. We give servant leaders their life back. We help them build businesses that are aligned with their values, that support their family, that fund their mission, and that never require them to choose between scale and soul. Personal legacy. Logan is present with his family, teaching his kids, traveling, praying them to a life of character, wisdom, and joy. He is building not just wealth, but memory and a future of shared calling. What we stand for stewardship over spectacle, signal over noise, wisdom over ego, servant leadership over hustle culture, and a business that reflects the order and beauty of God's design. VentureMap's calling. We are building a refuge, a movement of servant leaders using the world's most advanced technology to multiply good, defend the family, and expand the kingdom. Rooted in Scripture, driven by clarity, powered by purpose. This is VentureMap.
And there you have it. The vivid vision for the business is produced in presentation format, being read over by a voice in a video, done with under 20 minutes, 30 minutes, call it an hour with all things said and done. And that's how you just march down the line and execute on every deliverable in the culture stack. That's it for now. I hope that brought some insight, some value, some clarity. And if you want to build out your own vivid vision, next steps are simple. Join the free community. If you're already in the community, then what I want you to do is book your one-on-one onboarding call. I'll help you get set up with the templates, with the training that you need. We meet every week in the free community to answer questions and to facilitate implementation support. So that's the easy, no-brainer next step. You can do all of this for free, though if you want to take it to the next level, of course, VentureMap Elite is the paid community where we ensure that our members receive the very best of our abilities with regard to producing their deliverables with them, and in many cases, for them. So next step, execute on joining the community if you're not already in there. Book your one-on-one onboarding call, show up to the live group calls, and start mapping out your business. And in the next one, we're going to dive into team attributes and activities pulling from the Donald Miller Guiding Principles framework. And that should be a lot of fun. That'll almost round the bend, close the loop with the entirety of the culture stack in VentureMap. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.